Welcome to Hidden Lives, where every life holds a story, and every story holds a lesson.
In the quiet streets of Madeira, a boy once dreamed beyond the mountains that surrounded his small island. His name was Cristiano Ronaldo, a name that would one day echo in every corner of the world, from the favelas of Brazil to the stadiums of Madrid. But before the glory, there was hunger. Before the trophies, there were tears. Before the applause, there was silence, and the determination of a boy who refused to give up. He grew up watching his father battle alcohol, his mother work endlessly, and his own dreams tested by poverty. Every night, he whispered to himself, "One day, I'll make them proud." And he did. He became more than a footballer. He became a symbol of perseverance, proof that pain can become purpose, and loss can give birth to greatness. Cristiano Ronaldo's story isn't just about goals and victories. It's about what it means to rise when life tries to break you. Because in the end, greatness isn't born in comfort. It's forged in struggle. It's earned through pain. And it's remembered by those who never stopped believing. This is not just a story about football. It's a story about the strength of the human spirit and the boy who never gave up. Section 1. Cristiano Ronaldo. The boy who never gave up. He was born on a small island, far from fame, far from fortune, a place where the ocean met the sky and dreams often dissolved with the tide. In Madeira, life was simple but never easy. The air smelled of salt and survival. Children played barefoot on dusty roads, and hope was something you had to build with your own hands. Cristiano grew up in a small, crowded house on a steep hillside, where every meal was a victory and every new day a challenge. His father, Jose Dinasevero, worked as a gardener at the local football club, a kind man trapped by the cruel chains of alcohol. His mother, Maria Dolores, carried the weight of the family on her shoulders, cleaning other people's homes so her children could dream of something more. But poverty wasn't their only battle. Every night, Ronaldo watched his father fade, not just from the sickness of the body, but from the heaviness of the world. There were nights when silence filled their home, when words were too heavy to speak. Yet in that silence, a fire was lit inside a young boy, a flame that no darkness could ever extinguish. Football became his language, his escape, his prayer. On the streets of Funchal, with a torn ball and bare feet, he began to rewrite his destiny, one kick at a time. He wasn't born into comfort or privilege. He was born into struggle, and yet that struggle became his strength. Today, the world knows him as Cristiano Ronaldo, a symbol of perfection, success, and fame. But behind the medals and stadium lights stands a boy who once cried himself to sleep, dreaming not of records, but of redemption. From loss and pain, he forged a destiny that would inspire the world. Section 2. The Boy from Madeira. Cristiano grew up in a small house where the sea was near, but dreams were distant. The waves of the Atlantic crashed just beyond his window, a reminder that the world was vast, and he was just one small boy trying to find his place in it. His home was humble, cracked walls, shared rooms, and a kitchen with the smell of soup mixed with the sound of laughter. They had little, but they had each other. His father, Jose, worked as a gardener and kit man at the local football club. He earned little, but to young Cristiano, that field was paradise, a green escape from the gray weight of everyday life. His mother, Maria Dolores, spent her days cleaning homes on the other side of the island. Her hands were always tired, but her heart never was. Every coin she earned was another brick in the fragile dream she was building for her son. At school, Ronaldo was quiet, sometimes too quiet. His accent marked him as different, his clothes too simple, his lunch too small. Yet when the bell rang and the ball rolled onto the playground, everything changed. Football wasn't just a game. It was survival, a language he spoke better than words. Each kick was a promise, each goal a small act of defiance against the limits life had set for him. There was no luxury, no safety net, only the burning desire to prove that destiny starts small. One day, his mother saved for weeks to buy him his first real pair of football boots. Worn out, second-hand, but for Ronaldo, they felt like golden wings. And then came the moment that changed everything. The day his first coach saw him play. The man watched, silent for a while, before whispering to another, "This boy, he's different." In the narrow streets of Madeira, a dream began to take shape. A barefoot boy, chasing a ball bigger than his future, was about to run beyond the borders of his island. He didn't know it yet, but that boy, the son of a gardener and a cleaner, was destined to change the world. Section 3. Youth and Loss. When Cristiano was 12, his mother made the hardest decision a parent can make. She sent her youngest son away. He left Madeira for Lisbon, carrying nothing but a small bag, a pair of boots, and the weight of his family's hopes. The island boy had never been on a plane before. As he looked out the window, the blue of the ocean faded into the clouds, and for the first time, he felt truly alone. Lisbon was loud, fast, and unforgiving. The streets smelled of gasoline and rain, not salt and sea breeze. The world was bigger, but it didn't feel kinder. At the academy, Cristiano was just another boy with a dream, skinny, poor, and far from home. His accent marked him as an outsider. His hunger reminded him where he came from. There were nights when he cried himself to sleep, missing his mother's voice, his father's laugh, the sound of the ocean. He cried every night, but never stopped dreaming. Sometimes he went to bed hungry. Sometimes the loneliness hurt more than hunger. But every morning, he trained harder, running until his legs burned, shooting until his feet bled. That pain became his teacher. The absence of family, the silence of the dormitory, the cold meals, they all built the resilience that would one day define him. Back home, his father's health was failing. Alcohol had taken control, and Ronaldo, too far away to help, could only listen to his mother's trembling voice over the phone. When his father died in 2005, Cristiano was already a rising star at Manchester United. The world saw his goals, his celebrations, but not his grief. He stood on the field, strong and composed, but inside, the boy who once cried alone in Lisbon was still there. Only now, his tears had turned to fire. He played not for fame, but for redemption, for the father he lost, for the family he missed, and for the promise he once made to himself as a boy. I will make them proud. From that loss, a warrior was born, a man who would search for father figures in every coach, every mentor, every team that gave him a home. His pain didn't destroy him. It defined him. Section 4. Manchester and the Rising. When Cristiano Ronaldo arrived in Manchester, he was not yet a legend, just a boy with too much fire in his eyes and too many ghosts in his heart. He didn't speak the language. He didn't have his family. But he had something else, an unbreakable will forged in the loneliness of Madeira and the hunger of Lisbon's streets. At Manchester United, everything was faster, harder, more brutal than he had ever known. Yet, he thrived. Sir Alex Ferguson saw something rare, not just a talented winger, but a soul driven by loss, discipline, and the desperate need to matter. For Ronaldo, Ferguson became the father he had lost too soon. He arrived first, and he left last, they said. Every training session was a battle against himself, the past whispering in his ear, "You will never be enough," and the future roaring back, "Watch me." He was relentless. While others rested, he perfected his craft, not just for victory, but for meaning. The boy who once cried himself to sleep now stood under stadium lights that called his name. Yet deep inside, he still played for the father who never got to see him shine. Manchester didn't just make him a footballer, it made him a symbol, a living testament that pain, when disciplined, can become power. Because in the fire of struggle, Cristiano Ronaldo was not destroyed. He was born. Section 5. The Ascent to Greatness. Real Madrid, the kingdom where legends are made and where even legends are tested. When Cristiano Ronaldo stepped onto the white stage of the Bernabeu, he was no longer the poor boy from Madeira. He was a global star, a man sculpted by pain and perfected by discipline. Goals came like storms, fierce, unending, unstoppable. Records shattered, trophies lifted, chants echoing his name across continents. But behind the numbers and the glory was a man who still carried his past in silence. The world saw a machine, precise, relentless, almost mechanical. Yet beneath the armor, there lived a son who never forgot where he came from, a brother who still called home, and a father learning how to love the way he was never loved. He became the father he never had. Through his children, he found healing. Through family, he found balance. He brought his mother close, never letting her drift too far, perhaps knowing deep inside that love was the only trophy that truly mattered. He had conquered the world, but his greatest victory was over the emptiness that once ruled him. In the glare of the cameras, amidst the cheers and the gold, stood a man who had learned the most difficult lesson of all. That greatness means nothing if it doesn't come with a heart. Section 6. Reflection and Legacy. As the stadium lights dim and the roar of the crowd fades, Cristiano Ronaldo often looks back, not at the trophies or the records, but at the journey that brought him here. He remembers the narrow streets of Madeira, the lonely nights in Lisbon, the father he lost, the hunger he endured, and the dreams he refused to abandon. Pain was his companion, but he learned to harness it, to turn it into fuel. He turned pain into purpose. Off the pitch, he extends that purpose to others. Hospitals for sick children, foundations for the vulnerable, countless acts of generosity quietly changing lives around the world. He has learned that greatness is not measured only in goals or trophies, but in the lives you touch, the hope you give, and the inspiration you leave behind. And so, in the quiet moments, when no one is watching, a voice whispers across time and space to every child who dreams beyond their circumstances. Believe in yourself, even when no one else does. From loss, from struggle, from pain, greatness is born. His story is more than football. It is a testament to resilience, to hope, and to the unbreakable human spirit. And as the ball rolls across the street to another young dreamer, his legacy whispers, "You too can rise, no matter where you start." Section 7. Legacy of Hope. In the end, this is not a story about football. It's a story about the strength of the human spirit. It is about the boy who faced hunger and loss, the young man who trained through tears, and the man who turned pain into purpose. It is about resilience, hope, and the choices we make when life pushes us to the edge. Cristiano Ronaldo's journey reminds us that even from the smallest beginnings, greatness can emerge, and even from the deepest wounds, light can shine. So to every child who dreams, to every person who struggles, remember, believe, persevere, and never stop dreaming. Dedicated to all who lost, but never stopped believing. Section 8. Life, Legacy, and the Light of Inspiration. From a narrow street in Madeira to the grand stadiums of the world, Cristiano Ronaldo's journey has been extraordinary. He rose from a boy who knew hunger and loneliness, from nights spent crying himself to sleep in a foreign city, to become a global icon of perseverance, discipline, and unyielding ambition. Every trophy, every goal, every record is a testament not just to his talent, but to his refusal to let circumstance define him. Yet beyond the football, beyond the fame, lies a man deeply devoted to his family, a son who honors his mother, a brother who supports his siblings, and a father who pours his love and lessons into his children. Cristiano has learned that true greatness is measured not only in achievements, but in the lives you touch, the hope you inspire, and the generosity you give. Today, he continues to play at the highest level, inspiring millions of young athletes around the world to dream bigger, work harder, and never give up. For every young person watching today, whether you face hardship, doubt, or fear, remember that the path to greatness often begins in the most unlikely places. Dream relentlessly, work tirelessly, and let every setback remind you that strength is forged in adversity. Cristiano's story teaches us that no matter where you start, no matter the obstacles, you have the power to rise, to inspire, and to create a legacy that will outlive you. So as you watch a ball roll across a street or hear a child laughing with hope in their eyes, remember the lesson of a boy from Madeira. Believe in yourself, even when the world doubts you. Persevere, even when the road is long. And never forget that from pain, courage is born, and from courage, greatness. Cristiano Ronaldo's life is a mirror for all who dare to dream. No matter how humble your beginnings, no matter how heavy the challenges, the human spirit can rise, and light can shine from even the darkest places. And in that truth lies the most powerful message of all. Your story is still being written, and the next chapter is yours to shape.
Some stories never die because they live within us. Subscribe, like, and share to turn stories into hope.